Los Angeles at night is a strange paradox, alive and dead at the same time. The traffic never truly stops, the neon signs never fully sleep, yet the air feels suspended, almost expectant, as if the city itself is holding its breath. On February 1st, 2013, that breath hung thick over downtown, clinging to the windows of the Cecil Hotel like condensation from an unseen storm. Inside the building, the night was quieter than usual. The ancient pipes had settled into a heavy stillness. The elevator motors hummed faintly, and somewhere, deep within the walls, an electrical panel clicked at irregular intervals as though struggling to keep up with the building's weight. This was the Cecil, an address so saturated with tragedy that even silence felt haunted. At 8:58 p.m., the front door slid open, letting in a draft of cold air and a young woman with a backpack slung over one shoulder. Her name was Elisa Lam. She hesitated just inside the entrance, adjusting the strap of her bag, glancing toward the reception desk with a polite but tired smile. She looked like any traveler returning from a long day of exploring, slightly overwhelmed, slightly exhilarated, caught between exhaustion and the anticipation of tomorrow. But to the Cecil's aging cameras, which recorded in washed-out shades of gray, she was simply another figure entering a building that had seen thousands like her. Elisa made her way toward the elevators. Her steps were light, unhurried. Nothing suggested the heavy, tangled mystery her name would one day carry. Earlier that day, she had visited the last bookstore, taken pictures of the geometric tunnel of stacked novels, browsed through science fiction shelves, and posted cheerful updates online. She had written about the kindness of strangers, about craving new experiences, about wanting to see everything. She wasn't reckless, she wasn't careless, she was just young and curious in a way that cities like Los Angeles often reward and sometimes punish. But the Cecil Hotel had its own history of punishing curiosity. Built in 1924 as a luxury destination, it had decayed into something far different over the decades. A place where transients lived alongside tourists, where violence erupted without warning, where disappearances went unsolved, where tragedies stacked upon one another like sediment. Police reports, suicide notes, murders, unexplained deaths. The hotel had absorbed them all, and now, without knowing, Elisa was stepping into its story. She pressed the elevator button. The metal doors groaned open, revealing a dull interior lit by flickering fluorescent tubes. The floor was scuffed, the panel buttons worn from years of use. Elisa stepped inside, her reflection briefly visible in the metal wall. Soft features, dark hair, a traveler whose journey was supposed to continue long after this night. She pressed the button for her floor and waited. The doors didn't close. A second passed, then 3, then 5. Elisa shifted her weight, glanced towards the hallway, and pressed the door close button. Nothing happened. She tried again. Still nothing. She pressed multiple buttons, then stepped backward into the corner, flattening herself against the wall. Her posture changed, not fearful, but alert, as though she had suddenly become aware of someone approaching. But the hallway behind her was still. The camera captured everything from a fixed angle: the elevator frame, the empty corridor, the strange, heavy quiet. Elisa peeked out cautiously, leaning into the hallway and immediately pulling back, as though reacting to someone just out of frame. Her fingers curled slightly, her shoulders tightened. She moved with the nervous rhythm of someone trying to decide whether to flee or confront. Again, the hallway remained empty. She stepped fully out of the elevator. her feet angled outward as if bracing for a conversation or an argument. Her hands lifted into the air, tracing invisible shapes, slow, deliberate movements, not random, not aimless, almost as if responding to instructions or communicating silently. The gestures puzzled investigators for years. Paranormal enthusiasts claimed she was responding to an unseen presence. Psychologists saw signs of extreme anxiety or hallucination. Body language experts were divided. Some said she was reacting to another person. Others said she was speaking to herself in a moment of confusion. What everyone agreed on was this: her behavior did not match an empty hallway. After another moment of hesitation, Elisa stepped backward into the elevator again. The doors still refused to close. It was as if the machine were frozen in place, waiting. She stepped out once more, looked toward the left side of the corridor, then walked away from the elevator entirely. The camera's frame didn't follow her. It couldn't. It remained fixed, a silent witness that captured just enough to show something was wrong, but never enough to explain what. The elevator doors closed immediately after Elisa exited the frame. The timing was too precise to ignore, too sharp, too reactive, almost as if the elevator itself had been held open and released the moment she left. Inside the control room, the raw CCTV file would later show another anomaly. A subtle but undeniable skip in the footage. Not a glitch, not a flicker, a jump, several frames missing, seconds erased. The timestamp confirmed it. Something happened outside the elevator's field of view. Something the camera never recorded, or something the camera recorded and someone removed. For the next several hours, Elisa Lam's movements disappeared into the labyrinth of the Cecil Hotel. No camera captured her again. No witness reported seeing her. It was as though she had stepped into a blind spot the moment she walked down that hallway. A blind spot the building knew well. Her disappearance began not with a scream, not with a struggle, not with a dramatic final moment, but with a quiet exit from an elevator that should have closed, but didn't. In mysteries like this, the details that seem smallest are often the ones that matter most. The official timeline of Elisa Lam's disappearance begins quietly. So quietly, in fact, that nothing about the initial report suggested the case would escalate into one of the most perplexing mysteries of the decade. On the morning of February 2nd, 2013, the front desk staff at the Cecil Hotel noticed something routine but unusual. A guest who had not checked out, had not requested a late departure, and had not been seen leaving the building. Her name, according to the reservation, was Elisa Lam. At first, this didn't raise alarms. Tourists oversleep. Backpackers change plans without notifying the hotel. Travelers leave early for day trips. But by midday, it became clear that not only had Elisa not checked out, she had not been seen anywhere on the property. Hotel staff made their first informal welfare check around 1:20 p.m. They knocked on her door, no answer. They tried the key card. The lock system showed the room had not been accessed since the previous night. That was the second red flag, a quiet one, but unmistakable. The first real concern surfaced when housekeeping staff entered the room later that afternoon. They reported that while Elisa's belongings were neatly organized, her bed appeared untouched, as though she had not slept in it. Her toiletries were lined up in a careful arrangement on the bathroom counter, but her clothes were draped over a chair as if she planned to change into them again soon. The housekeeper, who had worked at the Cecil for more than 20 years, described the room as strangely preserved, like someone left in a hurry but expected to return. More concerning, Elisa's wallet and medication were still inside. Her laptop, however, was gone. By early evening, the hotel contacted the Los Angeles Police Department to report a missing guest. The initial investigation. When officers arrived, they found no immediate signs of foul play. The room showed no signs of forced entry, no damage, no displaced furniture. Yet something was off. Elisa's keycard logs showed her last entry into the room was on February 1st. No one else entered afterward. No staff keycard was used. This suggested one of two things. She never returned to her room after leaving it, or she returned without using her card. The latter seemed impossible. The doors automatically locked. Guests had to use their cards. Detectives noted the anomaly but had no explanation for it. Her roommates, 3 young women in a shared dorm-style room she had briefly stayed in, provided testimony that complicated the picture. They reported that Elisa had acted strangely in the days before her disappearance. She would leave them unsettling notes, hide their belongings, and lock the bathroom for long periods without explanation. One roommate described her as sweet but unpredictable. Another said she seemed afraid of something she didn't name. Management moved Elisa to a private room. This detail, though often overlooked in casual discussions of the case, mattered to investigators. It suggested that Elisa's state of mind might have been changing, but it didn't explain how she vanished. The search inside the Cecil police began a floor-by-floor search of the building. They checked laundry rooms, stairwells, storage spaces, and supply closets. They inspected the basement, the alleyways, and the fire escapes. Officers knocked on doors, asking guests if they had seen a young woman matching Elisa's description. Most said no. 1 or 2 recalled seeing her in the lobby or near the elevator but couldn't remember the time or context. When police requested the CCTV footage, the hotel turned over only a small selection: lobby entrances, hallways on her floor, and elevator cameras. This was standard protocol, but the building's security system had more cameras than the hotel volunteered. Detectives noted the omission and later requested everything. That was when inconsistencies began to emerge. The elevator footage anomalies. The elevator video, later published online, quickly became the centerpiece of the investigation. But before it became a viral sensation, it raised quite alarm among the detectives watching it. The timestamp jumped. Once, then again, seconds missing, frames cut, a smooth discontinuity, almost surgical. Experts later examined the file and confirmed that the jumps were not caused by typical compression artifacts. These were manual removals, either through editing or deletion. The hotel claimed the DVR system had malfunctioned, causing corrupted timestamps. But when investigators consulted with the manufacturer, the explanation didn't fit. The system wasn't known for that type of error, and if it had malfunctioned, other footage from that night should have been corrupted. None was. One investigator wrote in his notes, "This is not a malfunction, this is an edit." But officially, LAPD never pursued this angle. The timeline deepens. As the search stretched into several days, more concerning details surfaced. Guests on the 10th floor reported loud, metallic banging early on February 2nd. A woman on the 14th floor said she heard footsteps above her room before dawn. A maintenance employee admitted he avoided checking the roof after receiving noise complaints, saying, "I just didn't want to go up there that night." What exactly he meant by that remained unclear. But what truly shifted the momentum of the case was the growing number of complaints about the hotel's water. Some guests reported low pressure. Others said the water was dark, foul-smelling. One described a strange bitterness in the taste. These complaints began as early as February 3rd, yet the rooftop tanks remained unchecked for more than a week. The public release of the elevator footage. On February 13th, LAPD made a rare decision. They released the disturbing elevator video to the public. They hoped someone might recognize Elisa or provide insight into her behavior. Instead, they triggered an international wave of analysis. Forums exploded, YouTubers dissected every frame, professional editors slowed down the footage, mirrored it, filtered the shadows, isolated reflections. Everyone had a theory. Some said the footage was obviously cut. Others claimed they saw a shadow move behind Elisa. Some insisted another person was just out of frame. And while these theories ranged from reasonable to outlandish, one thing became undeniable. The footage did not behave like normal elevator CCTV. Elevators do not leave their doors open for 2 minutes unless something is interfering with the sensors, either physically or electronically. Who or what held that elevator open remains unknown. Small clues, big questions. Detectives interviewed more staff in the following days. A night clerk recalled seeing Elisa appear disoriented, like she was trying to avoid someone behind her. A housekeeper said Elisa's room felt too quiet, too organized, almost staged. Another clerk remembered something he initially dismissed, seeing Elisa exit the elevator like she was following someone, though he admitted he didn't see anyone with her. These testimonies, fragmented and uncertain, were noted but not pursued. Why? Because none of the employees could offer names, faces, or specific details. Yet when these statements were compared with the missing staircase footage, the clip recorded at 2:17 a.m. but deleted, the pattern became difficult to ignore. Someone had moved through that hotel unseen, or someone had been erased. The official story begins to crack. By February 14th, internal discussions at LAPD indicated frustration. They lacked concrete evidence. The Cecil's layout was a labyrinth. The hotel's record-keeping was poor. Staff members contradicted each other, and the CCTV system raised more questions than answers. One detective wrote, "Her movements after leaving the elevator are a complete void. There is no explanation for the missing footage." Still, the investigation pressed on, inching toward a discovery no one was prepared for. What they would find on the roof, what they would hear, and what the cameras didn't record would transform a missing person case into a story that still echoes today. Elisa Lam's disappearance might have remained just another unresolved case inside the labyrinth of the Cecil Hotel, if not for what investigators found, or failed to find, when they examined the building's surveillance system. What began as a routine check of the CCTV files slowly unfolded into a maze of inconsistencies, gaps, and technical oddities that no one could fully explain. The deeper detectives looked into the system, the more it seemed as though the building itself was hiding something. The hotel's DVR cabinet was located in a small locked room behind the reception desk, accessible only to management and maintenance staff. According to protocol, all recordings from the hotel's cameras should have been backed up automatically at the end of each night. But when investigators opened the system, they noticed something immediately. Several backup files from the week of Elisa's disappearance were missing. Not corrupted, not damaged, missing. Entire blocks of video simply were not there. When questioned, the hotel manager insisted that the system had been malfunctioning for months, but this claim conflicted with maintenance logs, which showed no repair requests, no submitted complaints, not even informal notes about a suspected malfunction. The system had recorded perfectly well on other nights. Only the nights surrounding Elisa's disappearance showed gaps. These gaps became even more troubling when detectives watched the elevator video again. This time, they compared the recorded runtime with the digital timestamp. The mismatch was small, seconds shaved away here and there, but unmistakable. A jump in the footage around the moment Elisa stepped out of frame. Another minor skip when she pressed the elevator buttons. A flicker that no one could attribute to compression or file corruption. Someone had removed footage, or something had caused the footage to disappear at exactly the wrong moments. One investigator replayed the scene of Elisa stepping out of the elevator more than 50 times. He noticed something odd. Her movements were fluid and continuous, yet the elevator's interior light flickered for a single frame. The kind of flicker that usually occurs when a person walks past a sensor located outside the doors. But the camera never captured anyone there. If someone triggered the sensor, they were invisible to the frame, or the frame was missing. This revelation prompted detectives to review footage from the hallway outside the elevator. The hotel provided only one angle, claiming it was the only operational camera on that floor, but a former employee interviewed weeks later contradicted this. He said there were two cameras, one facing the elevator, the other mounted near the stairwell. The stairwell camera should have captured anyone walking toward the roof access door, but the footage from that camera was gone. The DVR system acknowledged that motion had been detected at 2:17 a.m. on February 2nd. The log file showed a clear entry for movement, but the video associated with that entry had been deleted, not overwritten, not corrupted, deleted. The hotel insisted the file had been lost in a system crash, but the DVR logs did not support this explanation. According to the logs, only that one clip was missing. The detective who examined the file wrote a short sentence next to this point in his notebook: intentional removal likely. Meanwhile, strange reports from hotel guests began to surface. One guest on the 10th floor described hearing a metallic scraping sound around 2 a.m., a long, dragging noise as though something heavy was being shifted across the floor above. Another guest on the 14th floor recalled faint but distinct footsteps pacing overhead. She assumed someone was on the rooftop walkway, even though the roof was supposed to be locked. When detectives questioned the hotel staff, they received a mix of uncertainty and contradiction. A night shift clerk admitted that noise complaints had come in that night but said he didn't dispatch anyone to investigate because Cecil always makes weird sounds. Another employee, a maintenance worker, hesitated before describing what he heard when he went to the roof days later. A tapping sound from inside one of the water tanks. He said it was faint at first, then grew louder as he approached. 3 slow taps, then silence. He also said something else, though quietly. He felt he was not alone on the roof. As he climbed the ladder, he sensed movement behind him. Just a whisper of air displacement. The feeling of someone stepping back into the shadows. Yet when he turned, no one was there. He convinced himself it was nerves, but the way his voice trembled during the interview suggested otherwise. The maintenance worker's most chilling detail came next. When he placed his hand on the tank's outer shell, he felt a vibration. like the residual echo of something striking the interior. This detail was never included in the official report. The detective interviewing him circled the line twice and later annotated it with unconfirmed, possibly significant. Then came the discovery itself. When the workers finally opened the hatch of the far left water tank, they were struck by the unnatural stillness inside. Usually, a tank that size would echo with the sounds of shifting water, but this tank was quiet, too quiet. One worker described it as dead water, as though the liquid inside had absorbed all sound. Elisa's body floated just below the surface. Her clothes were not on her body. Her phone was not found. Her watch, which she wore regularly, was missing. The interior of the tank showed no scratches, no signs of struggle. But the hatch door was heavy, so heavy that experts questioned whether Elisa could have opened it herself. As the story gained international attention, independent analysts began studying the elevator footage. One forensic video expert discovered something unusual when analyzing the audio track. Though the CCTV cameras were not designed to record high-quality sound, faint background noises could still be detected. After isolating and amplifying the audio, the expert identified what sounded like a second set of footsteps behind Elisa's movements. Distant, muffled, but rhythmic. Too rhythmic to be random noise. When he was asked whether it could be interference or environmental sound, the expert replied, "If that audio is real, she wasn't alone." This finding was never officially acknowledged. Back at the hotel, construction blueprints revealed another concerning detail. There was an unmonitored blind spot between the 10th floor elevator lobby and the service staircase. Anyone walking ahead of Elisa, just a few feet beyond the camera's range, would remain completely invisible. This architectural blind spot aligned perfectly with the direction Elisa looked when she exited the elevator. Detectives also learned that one particular maintenance access door leading to the roof had a faulty alarm. The alarm worked most nights, but on February 2nd, the system reported a bypass. No explanation was given. The alarm company had no record of servicing it. The hotel denied disabling it, and yet the bypass was real. Someone opened that door without triggering the alarm. By the time these details were pieced together, the case had already begun slipping away from investigators. Too much time had passed. Too many inconsistencies remained unresolved. Too many recordings were missing. The Cecil Hotel had swallowed another mystery. What remained, what still remains, are fragments of truth scattered across corrupted files, unreliable testimonies, and minutes of surveillance footage that simply do not exist anymore. But the patterns are unmistakable. Movement detected without video, doors opened without alarms, footsteps without a second person on camera, and a young woman reacting to something or someone no one else could see. The lost tape is not a single file. It is a series of absences, stitched together into the outline of a truth that was never meant to be fully uncovered. And somewhere, within those missing minutes, buried behind the silence of the Cecil, lies the version of the story that no official report ever dared to tell. When the workers found Elisa Lam in the water tank, the investigation shifted from a missing person search to a death inquiry. Yet, even at this stage, nothing aligned cleanly. The discovery raised more questions than it answered, and each new detail seemed to stretch the gap between the official explanation and what the evidence actually suggested. The autopsy, expected to provide clarity, delivered only ambiguity. The cause of death was listed as drowning. But the manner of death, accident, rested on a foundation too fragile to support the weight of the contradictions that followed. The first contradiction came from the tank itself. The water tank was 8 feet tall, made of thick steel with a heavy lid requiring both hands to lift. The interior walls were smooth, with no footholds and no surface that could support upward climbing. For Elisa to have entered the tank on her own, she would have had to open the lid, climb a ladder, balance along the narrow rim, and lower herself into the water without slipping or causing noise loud enough to attract attention. Experts questioned whether this was physically possible for someone of her size and strength, especially at night, in cold temperatures, under stress. More troubling was the state of her clothing. Her clothes were found floating separately, as though removed after entering the tank, yet no explanation accommodated this detail comfortably. Hypothermia-induced disorientation was floated as a potential cause, but the autopsy report noted no injuries consistent with frantic undressing or struggling against the water. Elisa's body showed no bruising, no cuts, no scrapes, nothing to indicate she fought against the tank's walls or attempted to escape. The toxicology report added another layer of confusion. Elisa had taken some of her prescribed medications, but not all. The pattern did not align with a total breakdown or manic episode. Instead, it suggested partial compliance, a sign that she was functioning but perhaps disoriented. Her behavior in the elevator, while unusual, was not definitively attributable to mental illness. Doctors consulted by the LAPD noted that Elisa's gestures in the tape did not match typical psychosis patterns. Instead, they resembled reactions to external stimuli. Still, the investigation pressed forward with the simplest narrative: accident. But simplicity in this case required ignoring entire categories of evidence. Investigators revisited the CCTV anomalies. The missing staircase footage remained unexplained. The elevator's refusal to close contradicted its documented behavior under normal and malfunction conditions. The bypass in the roof alarm indicated manual intervention. The gap in the raw elevator video, a seamlessly edited portion exactly when Elisa left the frame, suggested someone had access to the DVR controls. The forensic team tried to reconstruct Elisa's final movements, but the timeline had too many blind spots. The elevator recording ended at 10:24 p.m. After that, the trail went cold. No cameras captured her on any floor. No witnesses reliably placed her in hallways, stairwells, or service areas. She simply vanished into the infrastructure of the hotel as though swallowed whole. One detective remarked that the Cecil was a building built out of dead ends with access points and maintenance corridors that even staff members didn't fully understand. Blueprints showed hidden shafts, unused ducts, bricked-off rooms, and emergency stairs that had been locked decades earlier. In such a building, a person could move unseen with alarming ease if they knew the layout. This possibility reignited an earlier suspicion, whispered quietly among investigators but never made public. Someone else might have been with Elisa in her final hours. But without footage, without witnesses, without clear physical evidence, the theory could not be substantiated. The autopsy report revealed another strange detail. Elisa had no defensive wounds on her hands, suggesting she was not fighting against the walls of the tank. Yet her lack of injuries contradicted the difficulty of entering the tank alone. The tank opening sat more than 3 feet above the platform. A person lowering themselves into it would normally slip or scrape against the metal edge. Elisa's body did not reflect this. It was as though She had been placed into the water rather than climbing into it. Then came the issue of the cell phone. The device was never recovered. Elisa had used it constantly during her trip. Texts, photos, blog drafts, but it vanished entirely. Its absence suggested removal. If it had fallen into the tank, it would have been found. If it were elsewhere, its last location might have provided clues. But without the phone, an entire chapter of the timeline disappeared. In the weeks after her death, the media frenzy intensified. Documentaries speculated wildly. Internet forums produced theories ranging from the supernatural to the conspiratorial. People slowed down the elevator footage, enhanced shadows, analyzed the reflection in the doors, mapped out the timing of Elisa's gestures, and compared them to footage of other elevator malfunctions. Yet, through all of this noise, one pattern remained consistent. Nothing about Elisa's death comfortably fit the accidental narrative. Too many contradictions, too many missing pieces, too many moments where the story depended on coincidence instead of coherence. A retired detective who reviewed the case informally described it this way. It's a puzzle where the edges don't match the picture in the middle. As months passed and public interest waned, the investigation quietly wrapped up. No suspects, no criminal evidence, no additional interviews. The deleted footage was never recovered. The alarm bypass was never explained. The tapping inside the tank was never pursued. The incomplete elevator recording was never acknowledged in the final report. Life moved on, but shadows do not disappear simply because no one is looking. Years later, a forensic audio specialist examining archival files isolated an anomaly in the elevator footage. A faint second pattern of movement behind Elisa's own. Not clearly footsteps, just an irregular presence in the low frequencies. Something that did not match the elevator's hum or structural vibrations. When asked what he believed it was, he said carefully, "It's either interference or a person, and I don't hear anything that suggests interference." A building inspector who studied the Cecil's rooftop architecture also noted a disturbing detail. The roof tank platform had an unmonitored vantage point, one where a person could stand without being visible from any camera angle. This area lay directly along the path Elisa would have taken if she exited the elevator and followed the blind corridor toward the service stairwell. It is impossible to say what Elisa saw that night, what she feared, or what compelled her movements. But her body language in the elevator reflected a pattern rarely seen in cases of isolated psychological distress. She acted like someone responding to another presence. Accident, the official report claimed. Accident, the hotel insisted. Accident, the city accepted. Yet the story continues to echo through the hallways of the Cecil. Echoes of missing seconds, missing files, missing explanations. Echoes of footsteps in a hallway the camera never captured. Echoes of a door alarm that should have sounded but didn't. Echoes of a tank lid that should have been closed but wasn't. Echoes of Elisa Lam's final gestures, hesitant, searching, almost pleading, as though reaching for someone who stayed just outside the frame. If the elevator tape we see is incomplete, then so is every conclusion drawn from it. And somewhere, in the minutes that vanished, lies the truth. No report, no camera, and no witness ever preserved. A truth that may never fade, because it was never recorded at all.